The forecast did not even call for all that rain, so it was kind of a surprise to everybody that it, rained 20 inches in 24 hours. So yeah, nobody would have ever thought we'd have 4 to 6 inches of water inside of our coop. There's an actual river behind the pool.
Oh no, we have a lizard in the house.
I just saw him run underneath this chair. I think it's a gecko. One of those house geckos.
He's on this side. Oh, he's so tiny. Look how little he is.
He's the same color as the...
Oh, he's like camouflaged on the carpet.
Trying to do this without killing him. Okay, here he is. All right, I got him. You guys can comment below, but what we have seen these called is a house gecko, and usually they only come out at nighttime, and they're usually all over our house at nighttime. We've got these really big pads on their feet. Ooh. I'm not gonna hurt you. Look at his tail. He's like trying to get me to go after his tail so he can break it off and run away. Oh, look at his tail. It's like up in the air. All right, let's get this thing out of here. And oh, there's another lizard there. Wonder if he wants to go in there. Maybe we'll put him in this one. All right, there he is.
There you go, buddy. There's your new home.
Looks like a little mini alligator. All right, mission success. Jess and Ryan with the Outdoor Grit YouTube channel. We were at Tractor Supply this weekend. Had to grab some feed for the chickens and needed some dog food. And you're never gonna believe what Jessica bought while we were there. They had baby chicks for sale, and she's a sucker for baby chicks, so we couldn't leave without getting at least 4. So we're gonna show you guys what they are and talk a little bit about them.
Yeah, so if you haven't already, go back and check out our last YouTube video. Ryan and I went hiking at Myakka River State Park, and it was so much fun. We saw some really cool wildlife along the trail. Go back and watch the video because it was a lot of fun. Let us take you guys in here and show you our new baby chicks. First, we want to show you guys an update on Fancy. She's the one that was broody, and we were trying to break her to make her stop sitting. So come on in here and we'll show. Oh, she's going outside right now. So as you can see, she's acting like a normal chicken again. We're so excited. And so we'll be removing the cage out of here, and now she's a normal chicken again. All right, let us show you what we bought. See if I can get them here. Oop. Okay, this is a brown leghorn, and we did buy all of the chicks sexed, so they should be all hens. She's so cute, her little wings. She's expected to lay around 300 eggs per year, so she's gonna be a really good layer for us, and they're gonna be large white eggs. Let's see if I can get her. This is the speckled Sussex, and her wing, look at her wings. Oh, look how pretty that is. So cute. She is supposed to lay around 220 eggs per year, and they'll be a light to medium brown egg. So we actually looked these up while we were there, and they are so pretty. So we cannot wait to see her full grown. Let us know if you guys have any of these guys. She's so cute. All right, and I bet most of you guys know what this little one is. This is a barred rock. She's expected to lay around 280 eggs per year, and they'll be a brown egg. Let us know if you guys have these little guys and if they're good layers for you. So cute. Okay, and this is the last one we got here, and she is a Sicilian buttercup. She's supposed to be a rare breed. Her eyes are so cool. I love the black around her eyes. And she's listed as a critical breed. Look at Big Red chasing her over there. He is going crazy. I hope he's not a mean rooster. I'm assuming that this is a rare breed because they only lay about 180 eggs per year. So maybe that's why. Maybe, you know, the backyard breeders and everyone just don't really breed them that much because they don't really lay very good. But she's so pretty. Can't wait to see her all grown up. And she'll lay a brown egg. So that's our 4 chicks that we got. And then our other 4 are doing really good. If you want to get down in there, Ryan, and show them. These guys are about 2.5 weeks old, and we hope to be moving them over into our next holding pen here in another week or 2. So we'll see how that all goes and develops. But that's it on the chick update.
Hey, if you guys are watching the news, you probably know there's 2 or 3 storms currently in the Atlantic Ocean. And as you know, we are in Florida, so we are always monitoring the weather this time of the year. This is like peak hurricane season for us for like the next month to 2 months. Last year, if you go back and watch one of our previous videos, I think it was the top 5 Coop fails, if I remember right. If you go back and watch that video, you'll see some footage on there. We had 3 hurricanes right in a row last year. I think they started in June or July, and we had pretty much 3 in a row. One was like 2 weeks right after the other. And we weren't prepared for the amount of rain that we were going to get. First hurricane that came through here, it dumped over 20 inches of rain in less than 24 hours. And so, you know, here we're mostly sand. So the water does soak up into the soil pretty good, but eventually it gets saturated and the water has nowhere to go. So our coop did flood last year, and this year we are going to try to make some changes to try to prevent that from happening again. Right now, we're going to be working on the stuff that we can do relatively easy. One of the things that we are working on is getting some gutters installed on the back of the chicken coop, because right now the water just runs off the roof and dumps down near the foundation, and we get water that kind of leaks in underneath the walls, in between the concrete floor and the walls. So we need to get a gutter installed. Yeah, we definitely don't want any more water issues.
Yeah, thank goodness we didn't lose any chickens last year, but it was so flooded. They all had to stay on their roosting bars for a good part of the day until the water started finally receding. Like Ryan said, we'll show you guys some footage of what happened. And, you know, that was one of the storms that they say only happen every 100 years. But, you know, we do have some flooding here, and so it's something that we definitely want to get fixed before these next hurricanes are potentially going to hit. I think they said there's about eight named storms for the hurricane season. Obviously, not all of them will head this way, but we just want to be prepared for anything that might come this way.
Yeah, last year when we had all the rain that flooded our coop, we came out here in the morning after the rain kind of stopped and opened the doors, and I mean, we were walking in 4 inches of water. Yeah,
they couldn't get to their food. They would have just been standing, like in 4 inches of water. So they just, like I said, they just sat up on their roosting bars for a good part of the day until the water receded.
Yeah, luckily their food did not sit directly on the floor. We had it up like maybe 6 inches or so. The forecast did not even call for all that rain, so it was kind of a surprise to everybody that it, rained 20 inches in 24 hours. So, yeah, nobody would have ever thought we'd have 4 to 6 inches of water inside of our coop. But luckily, yeah, Jessica said once the rain stopped, it actually receded relatively quickly, but definitely took some time to get dried out. So with all that in mind, we are going to actually, today, we're going to be installing a gutter on the back of our chicken coop with the hope that that will prevent some of the water intrusion. It's definitely not going to help like a flooding event like we had before, but it'll definitely keep the water from these heavy rains that we're getting from, you know, getting underneath the floor like it's been doing. So
yeah, and we feel very fortunate. That's all we had. A lot of our neighbors, some neighborhoods in town actually flooded, whole neighborhoods from that storm. We know we're in the construction and remodeling industry, so we actually had to help a lot of those people over there, and it was devastating. So for us to complain about some water in our coop seems a little minute compared to what other people had to deal with. But again, we're just trying to prepare our homestead and what we have here, and that's all we can do. But didn't want to go on without saying, you know, we were very fortunate, and a lot of people were not. I know there was a farm down the road that lost numerous cows, and that was really sad. A lot of them drowned because there was so much water on their property.
yeah, they just didn't have anywhere to go. Yeah, there's a big dairy farm right down the street, and they have thousands of dairy cows, and yeah, they lost quite a few just from drowning. So yeah, follow along. We're gonna go work on getting a gutter installed on the back of this chicken coop. Then we're going to do some sealing on the inside, and hopefully we will prevent water intrusion in the future. Like I said, not from floods, but more from heavy rain. So yeah, follow along, and we'll show you how we do this.
Yep, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is get a measurement on the fascia here, and we got 18 feet 2 inches. Hold it back up there one more time. I just need to mark where the middle is. 108 7/8. All right, so I marked the center because we don't have a seamless gutter machine, and so we had to purchase gutters from Lowe's, and they only sell 10-foot sections. So if your length is going to be more than 10 feet like ours is, you're going to have to use what's called a seaming kit, which is basically like a little piece of gutter. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna have one gutter stop like in the center, and then the other gutter is gonna meet in the middle of this piece. And then there's some adhesive that you put in here that kind of glues two gutters together to make a longer section. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we measured to the center of our fascia board where the center of the gutters are gonna meet. And now I'm gonna measure one piece of gutter, the same measurement, and I'm gonna transfer where the center is going to be on this one gutter. All right, so we got our first gutter marked. Now I'm gonna take my sheet metal snips and I'm gonna cut this gutter right on that line. Watch these edges, they're probably like a razor blade after you cut them.
Leia likes to chase shadows. I think she sees a light.
Next thing we're gonna do is we gotta cap the end off. And so they sell these pieces here. These are gutter end caps, and these are handed, so they make a right. This one's a left, and they're actually labeled left and right. We're gonna put this way. We need a cap for the right side, so we need to grab our right cap. I'm gonna go ahead and test fit this. Should look something like that. Now, if you were just to leave it like that, this thing would be leaking like a sieve when a gutter gets full of water. So you're gonna have to put some sealant in here. So what I have here is Spectra Seam Sealer. Buy this in the gutter aisle at your local big box store. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna apply a very liberal bead of this seam sealer all along the inside and seal this thing in place. That way water doesn't leak out. So just smooth this out. Make sure you got complete coverage. This is pretty much the only thing keeping your water from leaking out the side of your gutter. So make sure you put a nice bead in there. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get this gutter attached. One thing that you're gonna need to attach these hangers, and this is what's called a hidden gutter hanging bracket. So the way these work is they have a hook on the front, on the side that the screw head is on. They hook up under this lip, push them forward, and then they have a little slot on the back to go on the back of the gutter. And what happens is after you run this screw in, it kind of goes through the back of the gutter at an angle and into the fascia board. And then when you're on the ground, you don't see these. They're hidden out of sight. If you're gonna get gutters on your house, this is one thing that some installers might skimp on. The best thing to do is one hanger bracket, no more than like 2 feet. You know, when you get gutters installed in your house, those guys are in a hurry and they want to get the job done as quick as possible and get out of there as quick as possible. So you might climb up on the roof and see that they only put one bracket every 3 or 4 feet, because the quicker they can get these installed, the least amount of these they use, the quicker they get installed, the quicker they're done for the day and get out of the heat or the cold or whatever they're in. Yeah, just ask, if you're going to get gutters installed, ask your installer how frequently or how many feet apart they're going to set their clips. And you maybe tell them you want them every 18 inches or every 24 inches. Of course, you want one a couple inches from the end. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set mine so that they're about 24 inches apart. And I'm just going to go ahead and pre-install these. That way when I carry this thing up there on the ladder, I'm ready to install it. The other thing you want to make sure of is, like I said, we're going to have a seam. And so what I'll do is I'll put one of these brackets and I'll straddle it right over top of the seam. That way there's no flexing right in where the seam is. This is definitely a 2-person job. If you got a gutter that's longer than 4 feet, you know, you could probably do that on your own, but anything longer than 4 or 6 feet, you're definitely going to need a second set of hands. We're going to have the gutter all along the back here. I'm going to put our downspout on this side. So we want to start pretty much right underneath the drip edge on the right side. And we're going to give the gutter a slight downhill slope this way. That way the water will all run this way and go right out of the downspout.
I've never seen the top of the roof before.
When you snug these down, this really cinches this gutter up and makes it like 1,000 times more rigid also. So like I said, we're starting at that end. We're going to go slightly downhill. The more that way we go, that way the water will run straight into our downspout.
I think we just had these shingles replaced, didn't we?
Yeah, we replaced this roof ourselves 2 years ago.
Looks really good.
Maybe 3 years ago. Yeah, what we did is the plywood on the top was rotted out in this corner. We ripped all the plywood off and replaced all the bad plywood, and then we put a roof membrane. So pretty much makes the roof waterproof before the shingles get installed. And then of course we put asphalt shingles over top of that. So yeah, this roof's like maybe 2 or 3 years old.
Looks good.
Looks like it's in pretty good shape. All right, so right here is where our seam is going to go. And as I said, I'm going to go ahead and get the next gutter cut to size, measured, cut to size. And when I put that seam on here, I'll probably put another hanger centered on the seam. That way it's got support. It doesn't try to buckle.
Baby.
Now we got the next gutter cut to size. And what I'm going to try to do, I don't know if you guys probably didn't pick up on this, but the side that I cut was the right side where the cap went on. That way the center where my seam was going to be was a factory edge, so it's nice and square and doesn't have any burrs on it. So when I put this one up there and I cut it, I'm going to cut the left side. That way I still have a factory edge where my seam is going to go. All right, so we got our gutter cut. We got to put on another end cap. This time it's a left end cap. So we got that on there. Everything's fitting good. I'll go ahead and put a bead of the Spectra seam sealer. Just make sure you get it put on there really good, because like I said, this is your only thing that's stopping water from leaking out the end of your gutter. So over time too, I've seen people where sometimes they get leaks in their gutters and they have to go back after a few years and put some new sealer on. Hopefully we don't have that issue since I put that big glob on. All right, so next thing we're gonna do is go ahead and get our hangers pre-installed.
Vader's just a pup. He loves exploring. Wow, Vader. That's so rude. Watch out.
So I got all the hangers on this one except for the one on the end, because we're gonna have to actually put a hole in this one. We're gonna stick the gutter up there, test fit it, and we're not going to put the hangers in yet because we're going to mark a spot. We have to drill a hole in the gutter so that we can connect a downspout.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, so next thing we're going to do is we got to get our hole in the bottom of the gutter for our downspout. This is what's called a downspout adapter. I marked the outside, roughly where I want the edge of my downspout to be. So what we got to do now is put this in here. We're going to trace around it, and we got to drill a couple holes and cut this section out. All right, so we got our rough cutout. Next thing we got to do is grab a drill bit, drill a couple holes in here. That way we can get our snips in. All right, so we got our hole cut in the gutter. I'm gonna put the adapter in. Before I do so, I'm gonna apply, again, a liberal bead of this Spectra seam sealer around this adapter so that when it goes down in there, it's pretty watertight. I got a thick bead on there. I'm gonna drop that down into the gutter, and that should seal pretty good. Hopefully I can do that without getting it all over my hands. This stuff's pretty nasty. a lot of these high spots off of here because I don't want this to prevent water from flowing into the downspout. All right, so next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put our seam on. So it comes, seam kit comes with 2 of these, comes with a little container of like adhesive to put the seam on. So basically gonna cover all this, slide this up underneath the gutters right where the seam is. Right now my seam is like pretty much right in the center, and basically just kind of glue these 2 pieces together. Then I'm gonna move my hanger over in the center to support this. All right, so now we're gonna get our downspout installed. I'm gonna use this extension to get it further away from the chicken coop. So I need to use that when I take my measurement. Put the bend on here that I want. Guesstimate where the ground is, and I'm at 76. So now what we're gonna do, test fit this. All right guys, so that's it for our gutters. Now we got gutter from that side to that side. Water's gonna now come down, come out, instead of sitting in this area like it normally does. So project complete.
All right, guys, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you learned a thing or two about gutters, don't forget to comment below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys next time.
We'll see you next time.